Thank you for joining us. And in this video clip, we will be discussing how we can find natural phenomena around the house or around your school or any place you live. So we've all struggled with identifying natural phenomena. And the first time I had to do this, I went through the same process. And one of the things I found is there's two ways to do it. Approach number one, which I started with, is I was thinking about a topic that I was going to teach on. And for me, that would be a topic I was going to use at a workshop. And then thinking about a phenomena related to that. And in most cases, that turned out to be very, very hard. I just couldn't come up with good phenomena related to certain topics. I always fell back to things I'd used in the past. More recently, I tried a different approach, which is walking outside, looking at the world around me, noticing things, and then thinking about the science that's related to those observations. And that turned out to be more productive. When you do this for a while, you start creating a database in your mind. You can even write them down or take pictures of things that you see around you and that you have already started to connect to some of the science ideas that you teach, or in my case, to some of the science ideas I want to use in my workshop. So let's try this out together. So for a moment, look around where you're sitting right now. What natural phenomena are you observing from the place you're sitting? So remember, a natural phenomenon is observable. It can be explained with science. And I want to get you started. One example here is I'm touching it right now. It's like my desk lamp, and it's actually very, very hot right now because it's been on for a while. But I also remember that before I turned it on, it was actually cold to a normal temperature. So it has really gotten very warm after I turned on. So that's one natural phenomena.
And I just want to add into what you're saying. Well, I think it's really important to remember that we observe natural phenomena with all of our senses. So I'm not suggesting you lick your phone, but you really think about all the senses you could use to observe natural phenomena around you.
It's like I was using touch in some way to do this.
Right.
Okay, so you can pause the video if you like to think about and make some observation of natural phenomena around you. Okay, so Stacey, I'm wondering if you have some natural phenomena that you notice around where you're sitting.
Yes, well, I'm using my sense of hearing right now because I'm busy. Our cats are very upset about it, and they're walking around under my feet, purring loudly so that I pay attention to them. So, and so I'm going to ask myself these questions. It's primarily, I think, life science, although you could argue that there's chemistry in the brain. So it could be there's some chemistry in there too. So that I'm looking at that first and second bullet point. And in terms of general science ideas to make sense of phenomenon, there are core ideas around feedback. So about how we use our senses and about feedback of those senses. So that's probably, I'm thinking about the cat senses, that they hear my voice, they know I'm busy. There are some behavioral adaptations in that as well. So those would be some general science ideas I could use. Did you want to share one of yours, Will?
Yeah, I was just looking outside the window as you were talking about the cats, and I noticed this beautiful blue sky and all these puffy clouds, kind of whitish clouds, some are a little darker. So yeah, clouds, we typically think of earth science, but to really understand clouds and how clouds form, there's also a lot of physics involved. So, and maybe even some chemistry if we start thinking about the details of cloud formation and what is special about what makes up clouds, which is water, and what is special about the water molecules. We think a little bit about chemistry. And so the general science ideas that we could use here are ideas related to energy and energy transfer. There's some ideas, so that's an idea out of physics. There are some ideas, as I said, related to the electron distribution in a water molecule. And we also, that's a chemistry idea, and we also have an idea from earth science that water can be in different places. So water can be on the surface of the earth, water can be the atmosphere, it can be our ocean, and it sort of circles, it cycles through these places.
So
Yeah.
I was just thinking of one more. So there's a picture of my sister at my desk, and we look very much alike, but not exactly the same. So again, I always tend to life science phenomenon. And there is, of course, that's a life science phenomenon around genetics and heredity. But again, there's always chemistry. I mean, heredity is really about the coding for proteins. And so what's the chemistry that made us look the way we do? So that would be the different science I could see in my phenomenon. And again, the general science ideas are really primarily around DNA, around heredity, although you could argue that there might be some natural selection in there if you go back and look at how our family has changed over time.
So I want to add one more because I'm looking outside at the sky and I see all these big trees. And when we think about trees, we think, of course, about life science. But what I notice is, especially at the top of the trees, those leaves are really moving back and forth, right? And so that phenomena, if we're thinking about that phenomena, what is going on, that these trees are moving back and forth, we're really talking about physics. We're talking about the forces that are in play, maybe even a little bit of earth science in terms of the winds that may be acting here. So I think what we have to try to do is to see the different sciences in the world around us. So there is a science that comes to this foreground. We usually think, oh, that's physics, or that's chemistry, or that's life science. And then when we think about it a little bit more, we sometimes recognize some of the other sciences coming into play as well. So I hope these examples that we presented are helpful to you. I hope the strategy of looking around and identifying phenomena is something that will help you. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you will join us at our next video, which we're going to discuss how students can make sense of natural phenomena using the 3 dimensions of the next generation science standards. So thank you.
Bye, everyone.